Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Welcome back to my channel. In today's channel, I'm going to walk you through my cancer journey. But before I do that, I just want to give you the current statistics about cancer. In the year 2022, about 20 million cases were diagnosed of cancer. And out of those, about 9.5 million people died out of various cancer diseases. So it's like half of the diagnosed people lost their lives in 2022. And the projection is saying like in 2050, which is like 25 years from now, we're looking at an increase of about 75%. This is almost like 20, like doubling, which means if 20 million were diagnosed then, we're looking at about maybe 35 million being diagnosed in the year 2050. So you can work out the rest for yourself. Imagine yourself going to your GP or, whoever, and they tell you you've got cancer. It's a scary thing because none of us would like to have to hear that word. But we've heard it 4 times in this household. Anyway, this was 2008. Just woke up to find myself bleeding after menopause. And I mean, this was such a disturbing thing, but I couldn't understand what was going on. So after visitation, consultations with my doctors, my gynae, I was then told that I had cancer of the uterus. To be honest with you, it was such a shock because I used to believe that being a Christian lady, somebody who was very prayerful and believed in God, this would keep these diseases at bay. But no, that wasn't the instance. There I was diagnosed with this disease, and anyway, this was 2008. So early 2009, I had to go through surgery. In surgery, they remove everything. They call it TAH, total abdominal hysterectomy, where they take out all the elements to do with your reproductive system. So yes, all those were scooped out. And after that, I had to go through chemotherapy and radiotherapy. So I was given 6 cycles, 2 weeks apart for my chemo. I remember very vividly, after the first chemo cycle, I was so down and out. It was like a death penalty. And I remember sharing with my sister that I couldn't handle it anymore. It was too much for me. And I didn't want to go back for the second cycle. And my sister encouraged me and said, look, I had to just brave it out. And I did. Anyway, to keep it brief, I went through the 6 cycles. They were 2 weeks apart. I mean, I can't tell you about the nauseation. I can't tell you about the hair losses. Oh, my hair fell off. And, it was such a terrible experience. And this was my first time. And oh, my God. But I want to thank God for the oncologist then and all that, all went well. And I was given a window period of about 5 years where I would go back for checkups to just make sure that all was clear. And thank God, after 5 years, I was given the all clear, no more cancer in my system, and I praised God for it. Then, while I had relaxed and, thought, no, I never thought you could have it for the second time. It could come back. Now, not the same uterus, because the uterus was gone. There was no cancer to appear in the uterus. But there I was, through my the normal checkups, because I was over 60, I think 65. Yeah, 65 they were looking at. And I was asked to send a sample, not just general checkups of my stool. And I thought, oh, these people are mad. Why do they want to check my stool for cancer? I've already had cancer before. So what's this all about? And yes, I ignored them. Then I got a second letter in the post to say, look, please send your stool if you're interested in this checkup, which we're doing, for all the people who are over about your age. So I said, what do I have to lose? Anyway, let me just send them my stool. I did. My sample went, And then the next thing, it was like, they found something like blood in my stool. I had to come in for colonoscopy. Colonoscopy is something which they put inside your intestines to sort of like, see clearly what's inside there. So I went for a colonoscopy, and voila, there I was diagnosed with, they call it bowel cancer or colorectal cancer or colon cancer. Whatever it is, I was diagnosed with bowel cancer, cancer of the colon. Oh, this is the second time. I remember dropping a tear, and then I shook myself. I said, there's no point in crying. This is what the situation is, and this is how things are. I just have to be brave and see what comes next. So after consultations, I was then advised that I had to go for surgery again. And after surgery, I would go through chemo and all that kind of stuff. Oh my God. Don't tell me, I had to go through all that again. I put it in the past and thought, I was done, off and done with. Anyway, I had to comply because I trust God that He gave us these doctors and gave them knowledge. So we cannot really fight them. We can only move along. That's me. Some people would rather say, no, 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 no. They want to use the conventional medication. They want to do this. Yes, I would get that kind of advice. But after my first experience with the cancer of the uterus, I realized that these conventional medications, you can be wrong or right. So anyway, I went through the surgery. It wasn't a very easy one because I remember rightfully after surgery, waking up in so much pain and keeping on demanding for extra pain medication and all that. Until at some stage, I think I got so confused. I don't know what happened. It was a lengthy period where I think I was in my own world, whether it was hallucinations or not, but it was a terrible time. And when I came to my senses, I was surrounded by these nurses and all that, the health professionals. And then I remember asking, if it was okay for me to lie down and sleep. And they said, of course. But nobody up to this day could really tell me what was really happening. But anyway, the important thing was I was alive and making progress. So after the surgery, they removed about 30 to 35 centimeters of my large intestine, so I was told. And in order to cut off that piece, which was already affected by the cancer. Then after that, I was given 12 cycles, 2 weeks apart, of chemotherapy again. Last time it was 6 cycles, which were giving me a hard time. Now I was looking about 12 cycles, double the number of cycles. So I had to go through those 2 weeks apart. I had no choice. So I went through that. I remember very well when after my 9th cycle, things had really came to the toll, because I remember very well that I just wasn't feeling well. And mind you, this was now 2019 when I was diagnosed with this colon cancer, and chemo started in 2020. So in 2020, this is also the time, for those who remember, this is when COVID came into the picture. So I had this cancer as an underlying issue. There was COVID, which was so scary. Those who remember, we had to be in isolation. You wouldn't want to mix with a lot of people, if anything, because you could have it with your underlying issue and you'll be gone. So you can imagine the kind of life I was going through. And that time it was just me and my husband, living, together with nobody else, in our household, because all our children are grown up. And now with COVID, we're not allowed visitors. So you can imagine, you are going through this episode for the second time, no visitors, and there's COVID out there. So it was such a terrible, terrible situation. Anyway, I don't know what happened after my 9th cycle, but I think I couldn't take it very well, and I think I had to slow down. I think we spent 3 weeks before I went back for the 10th cycle. Anyway, I went through the 12 cycles, keeping ourselves in isolation, just me and my husband. And although our children are not very far off, they couldn't really come and visit and would sit down and chat because of the COVID pandemic. So it was like a death penalty. You're on your own, you're suffering. You can talk to people on the phone. Thank God for that novelty, because if it was years back, there was no communication, there would be no video calls, there would be nothing. But thank God, at least we could talk over the phone. Anyway, after that, after my 12 cycles, after the treatment, things were, would subside and all that. Oh, if I can tell you the thing which I had overlooked, that's what I think, before the diagnosis, I used to have constipation on and off. But I just thought once in a while that maybe it was my diet, maybe I wasn't drinking enough water, maybe this. But I then realized that if anybody is going through these kind of symptoms, you just need to have yourself checked up, because you'll never know. It's better to be safe than to be sorry. So I think it's something which I had neglected for some time. But then, anyway, I thank God because it was captured in good time. So yes, this is the second cancer. And after that, I ended up with neuropathy, peripheral neuropathy, as a side effect of the chemotherapy. This is where you feel numb in your fingers, tingling in the feet, the legs and all that, numbness. And I still have it up to this day, because to me, no medication really helps. So what I actually do to survive is I do a lot of exercises. For those who might be having this type of problem as well, if you check on the YouTube, there are plenty of exercises which one can do to sort of cope with the neuropathy. Some people are fortunate, they respond well to the treatments they are given by the neurologists. But for me, things don't quite work with the medication. Anyway, so that was me, 2021, I'm recovering. I mean, before the end of 2021, as if having cancer twice was not enough, my husband, remember I said it's just the two of us living in our household because all our children are grown up. He went for this blood test, and then from nowhere, I can't say from nowhere because earlier on he's been battling with night sweats and some bad breath here and there, and we didn't quite know where it was coming from. Night sweats, bad breath, blah blah blah. But anyway, he went to see the GP after blood tests. Anyway, again he was diagnosed of lymphoma, cancer of the blood. Oh, yeah, this is the third time cancer is being mentioned in our household. I don't think there was a day since 2008, there was a day which passed without spelling out the word cancer, cancer, cancer. And at one stage I thought, God, when is this going to disappear? I mean, you don't want to say to God, why us? Why me? You just have to accept, because yes, that's you, that's where you are. And maybe there are people out there who are going through things which are worse off. So we have to just embrace it and get on with it. So yes, my husband was diagnosed with lymphoma. Yes, he had to go through chemotherapy. Yes, I was there now as the pillar and somebody who had been experienced with this kind of chemotherapy and all that. So I was encouraging him after his first treatment. He almost gave up as well. I said, no. How can you give up? I've had it and I've survived twice. So you go through it, you'll make it. So yes, he was given, I think, 10 cycles of chemo. He went through that. They were also about 2 to 3 weeks apart. He went through that, and he got out of it. After about a year or two, he was sort of like told that he was in remission. What good news, what good news. Because cancer of the blood is like a stage 4 cancer, because blood flows everywhere. So it means you will be having your cancer cells all over your body. So this is like a stage 4 cancer. And for those who know, cancer has got 4 stages. Stage 1 is the very initial stage. Stage 2, 3, stage 4 is when your cancer has spread everywhere. So when they talk about cancer of the blood flows everywhere. So it's like cancer flows cells. In all due respect, this is what I've learned. So I'm not a medical person, so don't pin me down too much. It's what I've learned from the oncologist, the kind of questions I'll be asking. So yes, this was the 3rd time we had cancer in the household. And then when everything was settling down, I think about 2 years ago now, this is 2025, as I'm recording to you now, today is the 4th of May, 2025. So I'm talking about 2 years ago, yes, 2 years ago to date. We changed our GP. The new GP said she doesn't just take over, patients and carry on. She also does a bit of some tests here and there to just make sure that, she knows her clients, enough to be able to carry on. So we were asked to go for blood tests and all that. And we didn't even hurry. We just booked, the swift queue. It took us time to be, to be called, to have because we were relaxed. After all, we have survived COVID. We have survived cancers 3 times. What else could we hurry for? And we're so relaxed. Let me be very honest. Then after the blood test, we're shocked when the doctors phoned to say, please come for a visitation the following day. Why so urgent? Anyway, when we got there, the doctor was shocked that my husband's PSA reading, the PSA readings are something to do with the prostate cancer. So with the prostate. So it was like, your readings are very high. If I remember, my memory can at times, I forget. But I think it was like 470, but it was very high, from 0 to that high. So, he was sent for further tests. And again, to cut a long story short, he was diagnosed of prostate cancer. This is now the 4th time the word cancer is being thrown at us, as if that's the only ailment in the world. Cancer, 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 cancer. Oh, okay. So what next? Yes, the usual. You have to go through chemotherapy. He couldn't say no. He had to move on with it. So yes, he went through chemotherapy. And to be honest with you, hair loss with most of these cancer treatments, most of these chemos, they do result in hair losses. So yes, hair was lost again. I lost my hair twice and I've grown it all back. He lost his hair because of that chemotherapy treatment. And after the cycles, if I remember rightly, I think it was 10 cycles again. I could be very wrong, but it was about that amount of cycles. And they were also about 2 to 3 weeks apart. He was in remission, and his PSA count had even gone down to 20. Wow, what a progress, what a progress, what a progress. We're all, over the moon that, yes, this time we've beaten the cancer 4 times. What else do you want? Then he started again not feeling well, and we went back as usual. It takes about 5 years for you to give you the all clear. They'll be checking you, testing you here and there. So he went back, and only to be told that his readings, PSA readings, had gone up again, and he was a bit frail and all that. So they couldn't really give him a chemo, because like I said earlier on, chemo will kill the cancer cells, chemo will kill your live cells. So, it doesn't, treat you well. You can actually, for all those who know, after your chemo treatment, you actually feel worse than when you go in. This is because some of your living cells will have been destroyed, and you'll have to pick up to grow them again before the next cycle. So yes, his health was not looking good. So they said, no, they were not going to go through the chemotherapy route. And also they did some scans. And mind you, when you go through these cancer things, you have to go through a lot of scans for them to check your bones, to check your blood, to check your your glands, to make sure that, things are still under control. So for him, the cancer had now gone into the bones and the glands. It was like it's a stage 4 thing because it's now all over again, and the bones as well. So they couldn't just give him chemotherapy because of his health condition then. So they recommended that he had 2 types of treatment. In fact, 3. By then, he was already receiving the hormone therapy replacement injection, which he gets every 3 months, the hormone therapy replacement. Then he had to go to get oral chemo, in other words, tablets which he takes in instead of having the chemo through IV intravenous drips. He had to take it as tablets. And then for the cancer which was in the bones, he was given radium treatment. So he was given 6 cycles of radium treatment to go through. And so far he has gone through 3, and he's got 3 more to go. He is taking it well. But it's a very rough journey. It's a very rough journey. And yes, he's taking it well. We're hoping to finish the other 3 cycles by end of July, August. I always say we because I am like part of the whole thing, and I'm always accompanying him to all these visitations for the health checks and all that. So I'm hoping, yes, by then he will have gone through his 6 cycles, and then by then we'll find out what the condition is. Yes, thank God he's still alive. Thank God he can still do things for himself. Thank God, here and there he gets some hiccups. There's vomiting, there's this, there's that. But yes, he's still, thanking God for each and every day we find ourselves alive. Anyway, now people wonder why I'm talking about this cancer thing within my crochet group. It's because I'm trying to encourage someone that it doesn't matter what your condition is. You are still living. You have to make the most out of it. I'm still living. Whenever I feel strong, I crochet, I knit, I attend all these craft fairs. For those who have already looked at my channel, you actually see that I post a lot of videos about crocheting, about knitting, about the craft fairs I attend and all that. Yes, it's because I have to keep myself alive. I have to keep going. We have to keep on keeping on. You'll be diagnosed with all sorts of things. It's not a death sentence. You are still alive. So as long as you're alive and you can do it, you have to soldier on. It's not an easy road. Let me tell you, no, I'm not. The way I'm explaining it is like it's an easy road to travel. It's a very hard road to travel. But I want to thank God for this advancement in health issues, medication and all that. If it was way back, diagnosis of cancer meant diagnosis of death, because way back then, maybe some 30, 40 years, if I remember rightly, the cures were very, very scarce. People were diagnosed of cancer, people would die. But thank God now, with all that's happening, they are making progress in the medical field. People are able to catch the cancer before it's too late, which is a very good thing. So I'm encouraging people, if there's history in your family of this cancer thing, if you don't feel well, to just go and get a checkup, to just be on the safer side, because the earlier these diseases are diagnosed, the better chances you have for survival. You don't want to be told stage 4, sorry, there's nothing we can do. You want to give yourself a chance to survive. And while you survive, do the best. Like I told people, I'm over 70. And at 70, I still feel like I'm going strong besides the neuropathy. And I still feel I can contribute something to the world of the living before it's too late. That's why I always share my patterns. That's why I'm telling you about this, case, because people think I do all these things because all is well. No. It's because I just want to show the world that you can still survive. And I want to thank God for taking us this far. And I want to thank God for all the medical fraternity which helped us, which is still helping us up to this day to live a fulfilling life by giving us all the necessary treatments. Yes. In case you have also gone through my experience, I want you to leave a comment down below. Share your experience, what you have gone through. If you have also gone through a similar cancer journey, I would love to know about it so that I know that we are not the only ones in the world. Yes, we are soldiering on, and I'm just hoping by God's grace we won't have a 5th cancer diagnosed, because then that will be maybe too much to handle, to be too hot to handle. Anyway, God knows better than all of us. Yeah, so if you have gone through similar experiences or maybe another fatal disease which you want to share about, please leave a comment down below. And if this has helped you to soldier on, please like and share, subscribe, and share to other people so that they can also listen to my story and maybe feel encouraged in case they are losing their mind out of all these things happening around them. Thank you for listening. Until we meet again, and for subscribing. Thank you. It's a bye for now.